So some of you people maybe came to watch my videos, and I usually do entertainment. This is one of the few opinions that I'm going to give political issues. I don't often do that. This is a rare exception. I was uploading some of my entertaining videos tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed them. And I saw that there were some comments from some people, most in favor of my comments on this other video that was posted, which I will not repost it. I'm not going to make links. You guys can find it. It was about the 63-year-old teacher who physically assaulted one of his students. Sounds kind of horrible, but that's what happened. When you watch the video, though, you will see that it was not the teacher's fault entirely, at least. And furthermore, I support the teacher's actions. The kid was physically and verbally assaulted to him for several minutes before any reaction from the teacher occurred. First, he started calling him racial names and started physically threatening him and verbally threatening him. He closed space several times. He actually threw an item, it looked like a basketball, and hit the teacher. Now that's assault. Anything after that line, anything physical the teacher does should be considered self-defense. The teacher still kept his cool for several minutes. He told him several times, you need to go to the office, you need to leave. And in response, the kid closed space and displayed aggressive nonverbals and yelled racial slangs at him in between the verbal threats. Let's go on that point for a minute. I find it so odd that all these bleeding heart liberal tree hugging people want to say things about when a minority gets killed or minority gets hurt or whatever, they feel they've been treated unjustly, which sometimes does happen, don't get me wrong. But it happens to all of us, just not minorities. But when they sit there and say it happened because the person was a minority, all right, and then they use these certain cases that hit national attention, national news. And they were kind of sketchy to say the least. This guy isn't like that. This guy is a minority. The kid looked like he was a minority. And they're both darker than me, so I'd say it's not really a jump. It's more of a step to say that they're probably a minority. Anyways, so this kid is yelling all sorts of racial things at this teacher. Totally inappropriate. I don't care what color he is. You're white, you're black, you shouldn't be able to talk to other people like that. You know, and expect there not to be some type of a reaction or some type of a negative consequence for your inappropriate actions. I just don't understand how people could think that that is in any way acceptable. I'm not saying the guy should hit him over that, but at the same time, that wasn't the only thing going on there. But for that alone, and then it went physical, why isn't that child charged with a hate crime? Should be. Anybody got any reasons? Because I'd be real interested. Should be a hate crime. It started, he was calling him the N-word and all sorts of other things, and then he hit him. You know, the ball with the basketball. So, you know, it got physical. The teacher defended himself. Why is it not a hate crime? How could you explain that? I'm real interested. Some of these people, they sit there and they take all these, you know, let's just say criminals, you know, and they put them on a pedestal and compare them to Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was nothing like those people that hit the national news. Martin Luther King, he was always trying to teach peace, you know, and hey, peaceful protest. You don't steal things. You don't act this way. I believe it was him that said he hoped that his daughters would be judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin or anything else. You know, so let's stick a spotlight on that. All these kids that are in the class, they're all laughing and videotaping this going on for several minutes. Now, I assume the teacher went over to his phone and it looked like he was texting or something. I'm assuming he's probably trying to get some type of backup in the room. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to that in a minute. But all these kids are standing there laughing, thinking it's all funny and cute until the fight happens, you know. None of them stood up for that teacher. If you're a parent and your kid was in that class, you should be ashamed. You've taught your kid incorrectly. if they're in that class, my kid was in that class, if I was a kid in that class, and somebody was talking to a teacher, which, by the way, nobody ever talked to the teachers or acted like that to the teachers when I was in class. They might have somewhere, but not when I was around. If they would have, I would have said, hey, sit down, go to the office, this is out of line, and nobody did. Not one of them stood up for the teacher. They all thought it was real cute. Something seriously wrong. So, yeah, if your kid was there, you need to be ashamed. You need to sit down and talk to your kid and tell them the correct way to handle that if hopefully unlikely, probably more likely lately, that event would reoccur. The other thing you need to do is, sorry, I clicked on my camera. I lost my train of thought. The other thing you need to do, though, is sit back and look at this from the teacher's perspective. County Social Services requires people to have a 5-to-1 ratio. Okay, when you're working in a nursing home, or if you're working with juveniles, like in a youth shelter or detention facility or something like that, 5-to-1, that's the golden rule. One staff for every 5 people. And technically, you're probably going to have more. You should have more, because if you don't, that's how accidents happen. That's how allegations occur. That's how things go wrong. And to avoid that, we have a 5-to-1 rule. Well, why are teachers exempt from that? Teachers shouldn't be. They have classes with 20 or 30 kids and one teacher. That's not in compliance. How is every school in the United States out of compliance and nobody's making an issue of it, especially with the violence in school, these shootings, all that stuff? County Social Services, where are you on this one? And teachers should get paid more money anyways. Now this guy, he's not nothing like these criminal guys that got killed, but they're all saying minority. This guy's a decent guy. He goes to work. He's trying to do a hard job. He's not getting paid enough. He's a teacher. Everybody knows teachers don't get paid enough. The only thing I will say good is that the school still has a music program, which most schools have deleted that because they said, oh, it's not necessary. I disagree. But, at least that school still did. So kudos to them. Good job to them. I hope they don't fire their 63-year-old music teacher. That would be a horrible travesty of justice. What else do I got to say about this? The schools are out of compliance with County Social Services 5-to-1 rule. That 5-to-1 rule should be held at least with teachers too, just like it is with nursing homes or other facilities. The teachers should get paid more money. They don't. They shouldn't have to put up with that kid or kids like him. I'm sure that's not the first time that child has acted out in his class. It's probably not the first time that teacher's been treated that way. I don't know what the straw that broke the camel's back was that kid said, but did, but eventually it did, and he got a reaction. He literally asked for that reaction several times and seemed surprised when the guy finally hit him. Oh yeah, if you talk that way to somebody, maybe they're not supposed to, but you might get a reaction out of them. And then everybody was there to break up the fight. The liaison officer came out of nowhere, and all those other teachers came up to break up the fight, and the kids were all trying to break up the fight. Well, where was the kids? Where's all that bravery from the kids when that teacher was getting assaulted? When the teacher was getting yelled at? Why didn't they step up and say, "Hey, dude, you're not being funny. You're out of line. You need to sit down. You need to do what the teacher says. Go to the office." That's what the parents should be teaching their kids to say if this situation occurs again. Stand up for the older guy. Don't let some young punk jackhole mess with him. That's wrong. If you didn't sit down with your kids, I hope you do now, because you're wrong by not doing that. You're all wrong for letting this happen. Our social services is wrong for allowing the schools to operate in non-compliance with the 5-to-1 ratio rule that they have said is standard for the last 20 years at least. So I've been doing this since I was 19. So it's been a long time. We'll just say over 20 years. So I'm calling out social service. Where are you on this one? Why don't you have more than one teacher? If that guy was getting assaulted and stuff like that, and I was working with him or somebody else was working with him, that's when you'd switch off. You'd say, hey, step off for a minute. You're getting upset. I'll deal with this kid. And I've done that in my job before. I'm sure other people have done that at their jobs. So if you only got one teacher, though, that isn't an option. So anyways, yeah, it got physical, and the teacher got hit by that kid. He got hit by the white kid from behind. That kid should be charged with assault and a hate crime. I fail to see why, if a black person calls another black person a racial slur and then it goes physical, why wouldn't that be a hate crime? You know, black, white, red, purple, whatever color you are, if you're yelling racial slurs and it gets physical, well, I'm sorry, that's a hate crime. You explain it to me if you can. I mean, you can say that it isn't a hate crime, because I'm pretty sure it is, by the very definition. You know, I don't think that teacher should have been arrested. I think he should have been promoted, if anything, and given a raise. It's too bad that he had to go through all this. It's too bad that he had to be treated that way. The school should be ashamed for its non-compliance. The school should be not firing him. The police shouldn't have charged him with assault when he was just defending himself. What else can I say about that? Oh, I could say that the guy that came up behind him, that was a real wuss move. You're going to sit there when the guy's back's to you and he's getting in a physical fight with somebody else. If that was my kid and he came up behind like a little wuss like that, I said, what are you doing? That's a 63-year-old man. You know, you're hitting him from behind. 2 thumbs down, dude. Horrible. So, yeah, I think it's just a horrible thing that we've allowed to have happen here. And then somebody posts on YouTube and the video gets taken down for some reason. I think that's the one that should hit the national news. This guy wasn't a criminal. He wasn't a sketchy guy. He was just a guy trying to do his job and trying to pay his heat and power bill. Poor guy's 63. He hasn't retired yet. You know, where's the justification? Where's the justice behind that? And everybody's sitting here, some of them are saying that it was the teacher's fault and the teacher should be whatever, having unpleasant things done to him as a repercussion of his actions. No, he was just defending himself. Kudos. If I had a school, I would hire you and I'd give you a raise. So that's about all I got to say. See if the microphone works here.